Bonjour! I'm back with the second half of my presentation. I want to let you know I just figured out in Screencast-O-Matic you can have the video right down in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, which is really cool. I was using QuickTime sort of on top of the screencast, but Screencast-O-Matic has this video feature already built in, which is really cool. I've loved using Screencast-O-Matic for my flipped learning and for this presentation. It's super easy. I really recommend it to anybody. But getting back to the presentation, my third lesson plan involves podcast. And what I was thinking is that students for homework can listen to one of two podcasts. I would divide them up in half, and they're really short and they're about 45, 50 seconds. I got them from iTunes U from Open University. And for homework, what they would do is come to my classroom wiki that I created just for this project, but it's been working really well. So they would play the podcast, super short. Voila, listen. And they would listen quickly and then answer the questions, but they can listen more than once, obviously, because it was on the classroom website, which is cool. So they would submit this for homework. And so there's two of them. Here's the second one. A little different, but same idea.
Bonjour.
So then when they got to class, we could work together doing a number of different things. You could pair them up and they can talk about what they heard last night. You could bring up all the answers on the Google form to see so the kids can know, well, how did I do? Did I understand what was going on? In these dialogues, the homework ones, they would have known most of the vocab. But this would transition into an activity where there would be a third podcast. And this one's a little bit longer and has a lot of vocab that they don't know. So what I figured is I would put them in partners and each one would get a form. One person would be the waitress and they would have to listen just to the waitress, fill in some vocabulary, and then the second person would be the customer, the man. So that way they don't have to listen for the whole thing, they can just isolate their part. So after listening to a couple times, they can fill in the blanks with the words that they know. And then, working with the partner, they could speak the dialogue to each other and answer some questions, like how much is the meal in total? This word, entrée, very important, so false cognate actually means appetizer, which throws them for a loop every time. So then the last thing is they could perform a dialogue that would be just like it. Ask the customer what you would like. Oh, I want to order from the 20 euro menu. And they could all be doing this at the same time. They could be using digital voice recorders. At the end, a partner group could present to the class if they wanted to. And this way we're sort of getting more into the interpersonal, but they've also been hearing speakers that are not me, which is always a relief. So lessons 4 and 5 really go together. It basically is this sort of large project that I figured would be the end of the unit assessment. But what I would do is actually assign it almost on the very first day when they start the unit so they can work together. As they go through, the more information we start to learn, the more they can add to it. So basically what the students would have to do in small groups of 3 to 4 would to be create a cafe. And the main thing for this lesson would be to create a wiki page for your cafe as kind of like an advertisement. I usually have the kids do menus, but I thought, well, why not put the menu on a class wiki? So they would have a cafe name, they would make up an address in Paris, and that's where we could explore Google Maps a little bit. Talk about where's the metro, how do we get around Paris? We could include that into the discussion, make sure they understand the French format of a telephone. So all this information would need to be included, and I kind of made a sample here. And then it would look something like this. Here's a picture, the information they would need to include, and things like that. Now this is my storyboard advertisement that I did. I'll show you that a little later. Here would be the map and things like that. Then they would have a couple tabs for drinks. What drinks do we have with euro pricing, main dishes, that kind of thing. It's basic vocab, but it's kind of fun to present it in this format instead of just on a piece of paper. And the possibilities are really endless with this. They could create a Google Voice account, record a message with important information. That would be their voicemail, and then their classmates can call and make reservations. They can do they can create a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and then their classmates can post and stuff like that. And for a homework assignment, what the students could do is go to one other group's wiki write down some important information, and the next day in class they can interview your classmate. Well, what did you find out about this cafe? What's their address? What kind of food do they offer? What kind of prices do they have? So the possibilities are sort of endless there. And for the fifth lesson, it involved more of the YouTube video and the storyboard. So what I would show them first, we would do a YouTube video, is I found this advertisement. It's an ad for a cafe in France, which is really cool. And I stole the name. Oh, and there's a video. Okay, so it's back. So, it's really, really fast. But there are parts of it that they can understand. So they can just watch first, just watch the pictures, no sound, as sort of professor suggested, the different layering. Then watch it again and listen for certain vocabulary words and use the pictures to help them pick up what kind of information is in this advertisement that we would want to then include in our advertisement. So they would use this, answering some questions about the YouTube video as they go along. Use it as a guide to create their own storyboard. And then I did one, where did I put it? Put it here. I did an advertisement for my made-up cafe in storyboard, actually, in iMovie, I'm sorry. And they actually had a format which is kind of cool that I just used, and it made it all interesting. So there's a sample advertisement for their cafe. So the possibilities for this project are almost endless. I mean, they could have a Pinterest board as they go along to keep track of important things they wanted to put in their cafe. When I first envisioned the project, I thought it was kind of cool, and then the more we did and learned in this class, I just sort of couldn't believe like how big and how cool it really could get. So I really do feel like I learned so much in this class. One, you're not alone. It was so much fun to talk to teachers that are in all sorts of different situations, that have an iPad for every kid and some have nothing, no access to technology. I really intend to continue working on the flipped learning. The idea of technology, evolution, not a revolution, I think Professor said in one of her videos, is really important, because it's not using it just for the sake of it, but how can we take it and make our class time more efficient and make it go beyond what we ever thought possible in the classroom, and how can we use our time to make every single moment in the class and outside of the class worthwhile and worth something. And they are going to need to use these tools beyond the classroom. So how can we start to work in these new technologies so that the kids go into college prepared, or even into the workforce? I love learning more about all the Google possibilities. I hate the idea of 7 Google accounts, but now that I have a Google account just for school, I can kind of link it to a lot of the new programs that we learned. The screencasting is phenomenal. I really love that. And QR codes I really had a lot of fun with. The wiki space I wasn't so sure about, but I have to tell you, as I started creating this page, embedding the pictures, embedding the videos and the maps was so much easier than I thought it would be. And I can't quite figure out how to do it on my classroom website that I have linked to my lesson plan, so I actually really like that. The other thing I learned is how much there still is to learn in terms of how to do these storyboards and the different apps. And even though I don't have iPads, maybe there are apps that can still be applicable. And the social networking and stuff. I have a Twitter account now. My students are very excited, and we did little hand turkeys, and they posted pictures of themselves with what they're thankful for in French, which is cool. It got us sort of beyond the classroom. It got them excited about what they were doing for the first time. Not the first time, but really excited, which is awesome to see. So I hope you guys like my unit, and I'm really looking forward to see what you guys did. Thanks so much.